My dad had this uncanny ability to plant seeds of curiosity in my mind, making me question my own assumptions. He'd do it with a gentle nudge, often without even realizing it, a subtle pause, a thoughtful tone, or a carefully chosen word. When he expressed his concerns about my partner's honesty, it didn't feel like a harsh judgment. Instead, it was like a whisper of doubt that slowly crept into my mind. "I think she's holding something back," he'd say, his voice measured and calm, yet laced with a sense of conviction that made me listen. His words would linger long after our conversation, leaving me to ponder and reflect on the dynamics of my relationship. I'd find myself replaying moments, conversations, and interactions, searching for any signs or clues that might support or contradict his concerns. It was as if he'd given me a new lens through which to view my relationship, one that highlighted the nuances and complexities that I might have otherwise overlooked. As I navigated this inner turmoil, I couldn't help but appreciate my dad's unique approach to guidance. He never imposed his opinions or forced me to see things his way. Instead, he offered his insights and allowed me to come to my own conclusions. It was a delicate balance of guidance and autonomy, one that I deeply valued and respected. My dad's words of caution proved to be a turning point in my relationship. They prompted me to have open and honest conversations with my partner, to address the doubts and concerns that had been simmering beneath the surface. It wasn't always easy, but it ultimately led to a deeper understanding and a stronger connection between us. I was grateful for my dad's wisdom and insight, and I knew that his guidance would continue to shape my perspective and inform my decisions in the years to come. I sat across from my dad in the dimly lit living room, the TV's chatter fading into the background as our conversation took center stage. His eyes locked onto mine, their intensity a gentle warning that a storm was brewing. I felt a shiver run down my spine as I shook my head, perhaps a bit too hastily. "You don't understand her like I do," I said, a spark of defensiveness igniting within me, catching me off guard. My mind was a jumble of emotions as I thought about my partner. She was the sunshine in my life, the one who made everything seem effortless and simple. Her words were always laced with sincerity, her love and commitment palpable. How could anyone doubt her intentions? I felt a surge of loyalty and protectiveness towards her, and my dad's concerns seemed like a threat to our happiness. As I looked at my dad, I saw the lines on his face etched with worry. He leaned back in his chair, his hands clasped together over his chest, his eyes never leaving mine. I could sense the weight of his thoughts, the depth of his concern. He wasn't trying to attack my partner or undermine our relationship, he was simply trying to protect me from potential harm. In that moment, I felt torn between my love for my partner and my love for my dad. I wanted to reassure him that everything was fine, that I knew what I was doing. But a part of me also wondered if he saw something that I didn't, if there were indeed cracks in the facade that I was too blind to see. The tension between us was palpable, a delicate dance of love, loyalty, and doubt. My dad's silence was a palpable force, a quiet intensity that spoke volumes without ever raising his voice. It was a trait that both fascinated and frustrated me, leaving me to fill in the gaps and replay our conversations long after they'd ended. As I lay in bed that night, my mind wandered to my partner, her bright smile and sparkling eyes etched in my memory like a work of art. The way she'd tilt her head when deep in thought, the gentle pressure of her hand in mine, it all felt so genuine, so real. Could someone fake that kind of connection? Could someone look into my eyes and lie to me with such conviction? The question lingered, a persistent whisper in the back of my mind. I didn't want to believe it, couldn't bear the thought of being deceived by someone I loved so deeply. Yet, my dad's words lingered, a subtle reminder that wouldn't let me shake off the feeling of uncertainty. The next day, I met my partner at our favorite cafe, a cozy spot with mismatched furniture and a chalkboard menu. She was already seated at our favorite table by the window, her smile lighting up the room as she caught my eye. For a moment, everything felt normal, like the world had righted itself. But as I sat down across from her, I couldn't shake off the feeling that something was off. "You're a true lover," she said, her voice tinged with concern. As we sat together, our hands touched, and I felt a spark of familiarity, a sense of comfort that came with knowing each other's rhythms. But my smile faltered, and I pulled away, trying to brush off the feeling of unease that had been growing inside me. "I still love you," I said, attempting to downplay the tension that had been building. She looked at me with a piercing gaze, her eyes searching for something beneath the surface. "Do you still love me?" she asked, her voice laced with concern. I hesitated, feeling the weight of the question settle upon me like a physical presence. It was as if the answer I gave would determine the course of our relationship, like the fate of our love hung precariously in the balance. My mind was consumed by doubts, fueled by my dad's words. Every time she spoke, I found myself dissecting her tone, her expressions, her pauses. I felt like a detective searching for clues, trying to unravel the mystery of her true intentions. And I hated it, hated the feeling of distrust that had crept into our relationship like a thief in the night. A growing sense of unease settled in my chest, like a shadow creeping into the corners of my mind. I felt like I was walking a tightrope, torn between my love and loyalty to her and the nagging doubts that refused to be silenced. As I reflected on our conversations, I started to notice tiny inconsistencies, the way she'd expertly sidestep questions about her past, or how her responses would subtly shift when I probed for more information. It wasn't anything overt, no grand revelations or earth-shattering discoveries. Just small, almost imperceptible moments that made me wonder if I was seeing the whole picture. Like trying to assemble a puzzle with missing pieces, I felt like I was grasping for a truth that might be hiding in plain sight. The more I thought about it, the more my mind became a maze of questions and uncertainties. The city lights twinkled outside, casting a warm glow over her apartment as we sat together on the couch. I turned to her, my voice barely above a whisper. She nodded, her eyes locking onto mine, and I asked the question that had been on my mind for weeks. For a fleeting moment, her smile wavered, and I caught a glimpse of something beneath the surface. If I hadn't been paying attention, I might have missed it. "There are lots of ups and downs in our story," she said softly, her eyes She hesitated, her gaze drifting to her hands as she seemed to weigh her options. For a moment, I thought she might finally share something with me. The seed of doubt had been planted, and I couldn't shake the feeling that there was more to her story than she was letting on. My mind was a jumble of conflicting emotions. I wanted to trust her, to believe in her, but the whisper of uncertainty lingered, a constant reminder that I might not know her as well as I thought. A growing sense of unease had taken up residence in my chest, fueled by my dad's words and my own nagging doubts. "Does she be sincere with you?" he'd said, and the more I thought about it, the more I wondered if he might be onto something. As I stood in my bedroom, staring at my phone with her name on the screen, I felt like I was staring into the abyss. The conversation we'd had the night before played on repeat in my mind, the hesitation in her voice, the way she'd looked away when I asked about her family. I'd barely slept, my thoughts consumed by the possibility that I didn't know her as well as I thought. I scrolled through old photos of us, memories of laughter and joy flooding my mind. Each image told a story of love and happiness, the way she'd smile at me, the way I'd hold her close. But as I looked at those photos, I couldn't shake the feeling that something was off. As I walked into the kitchen, my dad caught my eye, his gaze piercing as if he knew exactly what was going on in my mind. I felt like I was trapped in a web of uncertainty, torn between my love for her and my growing doubts. The silence between us was palpable, the only sound was the soft clinking of coffee cups. My dad didn't need to say a word, his actions spoke volumes. He poured me a cup of coffee and slid it across the table, his eyes locked onto mine with a deep understanding. The tension between us crackled like electricity, my words hanging in the air like a challenge. "I know her better than anyone else," I said, my voice snapping with defensiveness. But my dad didn't flinch, his calm demeanor a stark contrast to my rising emotions. My jaw tightened, a mixture of frustration and anger simmering beneath the surface. I hated that he was right, hated that he was making me doubt the very thing I thought I knew best. The weight of his words settled upon me like a physical presence, making my heart feel like it was caught in a tug of war between hope and doubt. I wanted to believe that my dad was wrong, that my relationship was solid and unshakable. But the seeds of doubt had been sown, and now they were sprouting like weeds in my mind. I couldn't shake the feeling that I was standing at a crossroads, unsure which path to take or where it would lead. I walked out of the house, the silence between my dad and me lingering like a shadow. His words echoed in my mind, fueling my determination to get to the bottom of things. I didn't warn her, I didn't give her a heads up, I just showed up at her doorstep, my heart pounding with anticipation. When she opened the door, a look of surprise crossed her face, followed by a fleeting glimpse of something else, unease, perhaps, or wariness. Her smile faltered, and she stepped aside, letting me in. We sat on the couch, the air thick with an unspoken tension. She seemed to sense that something was amiss, but she didn't push the issue, instead waiting for me to break the silence. "I need your love," I said, my voice is steady and firm. "About your past, your family, everything." Her expression shifted, a look of confusion giving way to a deeper unease. The air was heavy with anticipation as she hesitated, her fingers knotting together in her lap like a tangled mess. "I love you," she said softly, her eyes drifting away from mine. "It's not an easy story." I leaned forward, my voice measured and calm. "I'm not asking for perfection," I said, trying to reassure her. "I just need honesty. Whatever it is, I can handle it. But I need to know the truth." She locked eyes with me, her gaze searching for something, understanding, perhaps, or forgiveness. Then, her shoulders slumped, and she looked away, the weight of her secrets settling upon her like a physical burden. "You're honest and decent," she said finally, her voice a mere whisper. Her words hung in the air like a challenge, and I felt my chest tighten in anticipation. Her admission hit me like a punch to the gut, leaving me breathless and reeling. I didn't know what I'd been expecting, but it wasn't this. The weight of her secrets bore down on me like a physical force. "Please trust me," she whispered, her voice trembling. "I will be on your side in life's ups and downs." Her eyes pleaded for understanding, for forgiveness. "I want to love you forever," she said, her words spilling out in a rush. "I wanted to protect you forever." I felt torn, my heart aching for her pain, yet my mind racing with questions. "Why are you too stressed?" I asked, my voice barely above a whisper. I searched her face, looking for answers, but all I saw was pain and vulnerability. Was she telling me the whole truth, or just enough to keep